Welcome to Arthos, where ancient wisdom meets modern understanding. Welcome to the episode 4, The Sound of Truth. False confidence makes a lot of noise. When people know they're on the wrong side of a decision, whether in a business deal, a relationship, or a moral dilemma, they tend to create chaos. They shout, they intimidate, and they try to overwhelm you with sheer volume. But true power doesn't need to be loud. It stays completely silent until the exact right moment. And when it finally responds, the sound is so pure and so undeniable that it shatters the illusions of everyone in the room. 5,000 years ago, the Kauravas tried to intimidate the universe with noise. But the universe responded with a sound that literally broke their hearts. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita. This is episode 4, The Sound of Truth. We are continuing our journey through the very first chapter, Arjuna Vishad Yoga, the yoga of Arjuna's despair. As we move through these 8 episodes, we are decoding the ultimate battle of the human mind, and today, we witness the terrifying difference between chaotic noise and absolute clarity. Let's step into part 1 of today's story, the echo of false power. To set the scene, we must remember the end of the last episode. To calm the terrified Prince Duryodhan, the great-grandfather Bhishma blew his conch shell, roaring like a lion. The moment he did that, the entire Kaurava army erupted. Listen to Shlok 13, Tatay Shankhash cha bhairyash cha panvan kagomukh, sasai bhayahanyanta sa shabdas tumulo bhavat. The direct meaning is, after that, conch shells, bugles, trumpets, drums, and horns were all suddenly sounded at once. The combined sound was tumultuous. Notice the meaning behind the specific words sage Vyas uses here. He lists bheri, kettle drums, panva, small drums, and gomukha, animal horns. These are instruments of loud, uncoordinated noise. The word sahaseva means all of a sudden. There was no rhythm. It was a chaotic explosion. In the modern world, this is exactly what panic looks like. Think of an insecure leader yelling over everyone in a meeting, or a guilty person raising their voice to win an argument. The Kauravas were trying to scare the Pandavas by putting on a massive, aggressive show of force. But across the battlefield, the response they received was not chaos. It was divine discipline. Now, let's dive into part 2, the Chariot of the Divine. As the chaotic noise of the Kauravas echoed across Kurukshetra, the dust settled, revealing something breathtaking. Verse 14 paints the picture. Tatay shveter hayar yukte mehati syandane sthito, Madhavo pandavash kaiva Divyau Shankhau pradadmatu. The simple meaning is, then, seated in a magnificent chariot drawn by white horses, Lord Krishna and Arjuna sounded their divine conch shells. Let's look at the deep meaning of these words. Sage Vyas calls their conch shells Divyau Shankhau, meaning divine or transcendental conches. They were not ordinary animal horns or war drums like the Kauravas used. They were instruments of purity. Furthermore, Krishna is referred to here as Madhava, which means the husband of the goddess of fortune. The hidden meaning here is clear. Wherever Madhava is, absolute fortune and victory follow. The contrast is stunning. On one side, you have a disorganized, desperate uproar. On the other, pure majestic stillness. The Pandavas do not panic. Standing in a magnificent chariot, guided by the Supreme Lord himself, they raise their conch shells and blow them one by one. It is organized. It is deliberate. It is the sound of total conviction. This brings us to part 3, the shattering of hearts. When you are standing on a foundation of lies, the truth is the most terrifying sound in the world. Listen to verse 19, one of the most psychologically profound verses in this entire chapter. Sa ghosho dhatarashtranam hridyani vyadrayat, nabhascha prithivim chaiva tumulo bhyanundayan. The meaning of this verse is, the blowing of these extraordinary conch shells produced a tumultuous sound that shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra, resounding across the sky and the earth. Let's break down the exact meaning of the phrase Hridyani Vyadrayat. It literally translates to tore open or shattered the hearts. Notice the psychology here. When the Kauravas made their deafening noise, the Pandavas did not flinch. Their hearts did not break because their conscience was clear. But when Krishna and Arjuna blew their conchs, the sound literally shattered the hearts of Duryodhan and his brothers. Why? Because deep down, in the quietest corners of their minds, the Kauravas knew they were wrong. They knew they had stolen the kingdom. They knew they were fighting against dharma. When you are guilty, even the calmest, clearest response from your opponent feels like a death sentence. The sound of Krishna's conch shell wasn't just a declaration of war. It was the heavy, undeniable voice of their own buried conscience coming back to haunt them. And finally, we arrive at part 4, the mirror of truth. In our own lives, we often face intimidating situations. We deal with people or systems that try to bully us with aggressive noise, legal threats, or corporate pressure. When that happens, our instinct is to shout back, to match their chaos with our own. But the Gita teaches us a different strategy. Do not react to the noise. Stand firm in your magnificent chariot of truth. When your intentions are pure, your response doesn't need to be frantic. A single, calm, well-timed action taken with absolute clarity will shatter the false confidence of any opponent. The conch shells have been blown. The war has officially been declared. Weapons are drawn, and the very first arrow is about to be released. But right at this explosive, heart-stopping moment, Arjuna does something completely unexpected. He lowers his bow, and he makes a request to his charioteer that changes the course of human history. See you in episode 5.